Hey everybody, and welcome to Tuesdays with Kyle on AmbiguiT. So this week is all about names. How to get your name legally changed, all the way to how to come out to your parents with your new name, or friends, or social media, and all that stuff. So I'm just going to go through sort of a little timeline of what I did. And my dogs will be roaming around because I'm sitting on the couch. So, okay, so when I first came out with my name, was about 4 years ago, to a group of about 4 people who I knew were okay with it. Like, I already knew going in that they would be totally fine, that they would have no problem adjusting, and that I could just try it out with them, and if I didn't like it, then they would... Hi, do you want to help? Okay. Then they would be fine switching back to my old name. So I told those 4 people and tried it out for about a month and a half. Telling them was a little weird. It was, but telling people to use a new name is a little bit weird, especially for the first time that you do it. You have to have that awkward conversation of, hey, I'm sort of going through something and I don't necessarily know what it is, but I'd really like you to try out using this name and these pronouns. Is that okay? And I mean, I'm sure that everyone will be fine with it, and if they're not, then honestly, you probably don't need to have them in your life. But that is completely up to you to decide. So then, after that, I sort of got more comfortable with myself and with my trans identity and saying that, my name is Kyle. I still was not very good about the whole correcting pronouns thing. So I got better at that over time. That just takes practice at staring the awkwardness in the face and saying, no. Calm down. Too many dogs. Not enough time. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Oh, now I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Ow. You are so helpful. Get out of here. Okay, sorry, I don't really know where I was at. It's a lot of distractions today. So, names. Came out with a few people. Then I came out on Facebook as my drag name, which was Kyle Fender. And so I used that as like my alternate name or my nickname or whatever they call it now. And then eventually I made a completely new profile. And then I sort of selectively told people that like I wasn't necessarily seeing every day, that I had a new profile and that I would still like them to be connected in my life, but if they didn't add me, I understood. And that was the easiest way for me to tell people, I guess through Facebook. Now, coming out to my parents with my new name was not easy, and it definitely didn't go over well. But I know I waited at least 6 months before telling them. But I told them that I was trans, and I told them that I identify with he, him pronouns, and that I prefer to be called Kyle, all in one fell swoop. I did it in a letter, a separate letter to my sister and a separate letter to my mom and dad, explaining the whole situation. They didn't take it well, and they still, 4 years later, well, I guess 3.5, slip up and call me my birth name. Sometimes my mom refuses to call me Kyle, but she's working on it and getting better. It just takes time and patience. Extended family, I don't really know what they do or don't know. I know that they avoid my name and they avoid my pronouns at all possible costs, which I don't see them very often, and they're all really conservative Catholic. Last time I saw them, I did say, like, I prefer to be called Kyle, or don't talk to me. And it was that awkward conversation. And so some of them didn't talk to me, and others of them did. The younger ones, like my cousins and stuff, didn't care. They would slip up sometimes and call me my birth name or call me she, but they would then correct themselves. And I told them how much that made me feel better and that I appreciated it. And then it seemed to sort of catch on a little bit with a couple other of them, of the extended family. But for the most part, they avoid my name and avoid my pronouns at all possible costs. Now, work situations have always been a tricky situation for me. I work primarily in churches, as some of you know. I work a lot with musician stuff. So going by one name and having another name attached to your social security card was complicated. I did move about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and no one down here knows that my past. They just assume that my birth name was a name that I hated, that I had really bad memories tied to, and that I went by Kyle and was getting it changed. So I did get it changed, but that's the story that 90% of the people that I work with know. I mean, my boss knows, who's the pastor of the church. The assistant pastor knows. The people that are close to me within my choir know. So it's not like I'm not telling people, but I'm not telling the people I don't think can handle it. But know that your boss will always have to know. Whoever's giving you the paperwork will always have to know. And that can be a terribly anxious situation. But if you have that conversation with them up front, then you're fine. Other things is school, especially colleges. Easiest way to deal with it, email them beforehand. If they check their email, great. If they don't, you tried. But I always showed up early. And even if they emailed me back, I still showed up early just to say, hey, my name's Kyle. I'm the one that emailed you a few days ago. I prefer he, him pronouns, and I only go by this name. Please do not call me the other name. And they were all fine with it. Even in this conservative part of Louisiana, every single teacher I've ever had was like, oh, okay, cool, and just went about their day. They had no problems. A lot of teachers, like if you're taking like GLBT friendly classes, a lot of them will just say, as Levi said, call you by last name and then say whatever name you want to go by. That's really handy about the GLBT classes. Some other teachers do that, but for me, it was always just easier to be safe rather than sorry. Lastly, to get your name legally changed. It is a little bit expensive. It is sometimes ridiculous, and that completely depends on the state that you are in. I know that in Nebraska, you have to put your name in the paper, saying your birth name and saying that you're changing it to whatever name you're changing it to. Because they do that so that any debt collectors that have a file on your name can go through, and they have 6 weeks to go through and say, okay, this person's actually going to change their name and they're not trying to get out of debt. So then they can have the opportunity to change their paperwork over to your preferred name. But that's a pain. It also costs money. And then in Nebraska, you do actually have to show up in court. I did not get my name changed there because of that. I didn't want my name changed to be super duper public. In Louisiana, it's a lot easier. You get the paperwork, and 9 times out of 10, anyone within a trans group, support group, anything, they'll have some sort of paperwork that you need. And that's where I got mine. I just asked around, and they sent it to me. And I filled in my name in the blanks and my parents' name in the blanks that needed it. And it just stated 3 reasons why you wanted to get your name changed. Like, it's your preferred name, you're not trying to default on any loans, and I can't remember what my third thing I said was. I don't remember. It was pretty much all laid out in the paperwork. And then you sign it, you get it notarized, and you hand it in. And in my parish or county that I live in, It was $150. 2 weeks later, they sent me the paperwork in the mail. I didn't have to show up to court. I didn't have to put it in the paper. I didn't really have to do a whole lot of anything. Then I just went and got my name changed at the DMV and all those other places. Getting my name changed on my birth certificate has been a little bit of a pain in the butt because Nebraska is so particular. And I do have to get my name changed on my birth certificate in Nebraska, so sending paperwork and stuff is a pain. But other than that, really easy. Social Security office is easy, and that one's free. But you do sort of have to keep track of how much it costs, because it costs to get your name changed, it costs to get a new license, it costs money to get your birth certificate fixed, it costs money to... what else? Oh, it costs money to get extra papers stating that you have your name changed, because you have to hand those in at different places, and that costs money. Those are the only ones I've run into so far that cost money. My insurance card was free. My Social Security card was free. Everywhere else just changed it in their system and was fine. Oh, my bank cards were free, but getting checks, that wasn't free. So I think that's all. It's complicated, but it's honestly worth it to make myself feel more comfortable. It was definitely a step that needed to be taken, and yeah, so alright, we're all saying bye. Look, bye! Have a happy Tuesday! Apparently Dolly doesn't want me to say goodbye. I got to. Alright, bye guys.